Welcome to the Faith and Fandom podcast. Excited to be here with you today. I'm going to be by myself today, but I got a couple cool things. We're going to go over just some other stuff I want to talk about, and then at the end of the podcast, I'm going to give you a preview of the Spiderverse chapter from book 6. So, I'm going to get right on that in just a second, but thanks for being here. Coming to you in late January of 2019, and just want to start off by saying Resident Evil 2 came out, the video game. That is a remake of what I believe to be the best installment in the classic Resident Evil video games. The original was. When I was a teenager, or early 20s, one or the other, I borrowed someone's PlayStation just so I could play it. And a friend of mine, Les Abbott, and I stayed up until the middle of the night screaming and crying and yelling at playing Resident Evil 2. It's one of my favorite video game memories. So I was really, really pumped to pick up the new remake. And I gotta say, my anxiety has gotten stronger with age when it comes to these things, because I could play for about an hour and I had to stop just because I'm second guessing everything and wondering if I'm going to run out of bullets or put myself in a place I'm going to die. And it's just one of those things of, man, the game is great. It's beautiful. There's a lot of well done aspects to it, but it is stressful. Not in a bad way. And I look forward to playing it, but man, they did a good job just ramping up the intensity on it, and it's beautiful, visually done well. It reminded me of how much I do remember and how much I don't remember, because I don't remember a lot of the tedious things, but I remember some of the stuff that creeped me out so hard. And like the first time you see like a licker run across a window, and man, I'm looking forward to how this game unfolds and playing it out pretty well. But it's been one of the games I'm most excited about in a very long time. I don't have a ton of time to play it right now because I need to write a book. I need to keep going on Faith and Fandom, Volume 6, so I can have it out for the summer cons. But my goal is to have it out for Heroes Con mid-June. And I just booked a show in May in Concord, at Concord Mini-Con on Free Comic Book Day. But I'm going to shoot to have book 6 out by Heroes Con. But book 5 has 5 chapters done now. Spider-Verse, Haunting Hill, Red Dead 2, Greatest Showman, and Titans. So those are the 5 chapters now, but I want to play some Resident Evil 2, and I'm going to schedule downtime to do it every now and again, but I really do need to be dedicated to write and get this stuff out. I'd love to be finished writing by the end of February, and pass that off so Timmy, our editor, can have a couple months straight just to work on it. I'm going to have some downtime early February, going on a mini vacation. So hopefully I'm going to take my computer and do some writing then. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And looking forward to the whole process of writing. It's one of those things, when it's just notes on a paper, it's kind of, I don't really want to type all this stuff out. But now that I've gotten 1/4 of the chapters done, I feel some good momentum with it, and need to get cracking on it. But Resident Evil is tempting. Beyond that, Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in a little bit, and I don't even know if I'm going to get to Kingdom Hearts 3 before this book is written. I'm going to buy it when it comes out, but it legit might sit on a shelf until I'm done writing. So we will see how that goes. But I am 1/4 of the way through, and that's not a bad thing. That's not too far off. So that's been a fun experience. Just getting these words on paper, feel really good about it. I have enjoyed though playing. I didn't even know it was coming out, but New Super Mario Brothers, the one that was originally on the Wii U. Um, Picked that up to play with my daughters, and it is a four-player, so me and all three of my kids can play at the same time, and it requires a lot of teamwork, but it's super fun. And I think my favorite experience with it though is my 8-year-old Bella really likes to come and just sit beside me, snuggle up, and if I'm not letting her play or if she's playing with me, she'll just keep looking and say, "Dad, you're really good at this." And you know, my 8-year old's praise over over my Mario skills is I'll take that. I'll take that well. I don't want to look at her and say, "Well, dear, I have been playing this for like 35 years." But I, I I will take my child's praise on Super Mario Brothers. So that's been really good. My older daughter Rosa is going to turn 11 in a couple weeks, and so we are doing a Stranger Things birthday party. Um, she's gonna dress like 11. We are going to do upside down cupcakes. We're going to have like a thing where you have to find Will. He's going to be in a tub filled with like spaghetti noodles and slime and gross stuff, and people are going to have to dig through and find Will. So that'll be fun. We're going to have a waffle bar where people can get waffles and top them with all of their favorite things. And it's going to be a fun experience. I'm going to have as much fun putting this together as my kid will have enjoying it. And a lot of responses just from her friends. They're pretty excited about it. So, it's one of those things, the family that nerds together. And the fact that my wife has been so on board with this. Like she's literally spending plenty of time dreaming up Stranger Things games and activities. So it's going to be a fun go around and a good time to celebrate my little girl becoming a bigger girl. So really enjoying that on the family aspect of things. Couple things just wanted to point out going on in the comic book world. I do the Pull List podcast with Chris Poyer for Love Thy Nerd, and so I talk a lot about comics on there. But just to say this, Immortal Hulk, there are 12 issues out right now. It's been a really fun, almost horror book, but it's Incredible Hulk. But the latter arc of the story is Hulk in Hell. And it's dealing a lot with the devil. It's dealing a lot with sin, with struggle, with good, with evil, things of that nature. So if you remotely like Hulk and you want a good piece that has a couple pages of each book with some solid theological ideas and just some depth to it, I'd say it's got some depth. I would definitely recommend picking up Immortal Hulk issues 1 through 12. It's just been a really fun experience, and I'm super glad I read it. I was really hesitant to pick it up at first, but it's totally been worth it. I also went back and read Kevin Smith's run on Daredevil called Guardian Devil, and that has some pretty good theological discussions and implications in it. Basically, someone is abusing Matt's faith and twisting it for the purpose of their own benefit, and that played out to be an interesting book, and Kevin Smith did a really good job with it. And it's an older book, but it's neat to read Kevin Smith, doing some faith battling stuff. I'm a fan of Kevin, and recently some friends called me the Christian Kevin Smith, and personally I hope and pray and feel that one day Kevin Smith is going to be a little more solid in his faith than he is, and not saying that I'm judging him for not, but just that I really do see some light in the midst of his darkness and the things that he allows in his life. I really hope and pray for Kevin Smith, because I think he's an awesome creator, and I think he could do so much good stuff, and as he continues to create. That's been really fun, and one thing I've been really excited about is Young Justice returning to DC Universe. Young Justice Season 3 has been a fun ride, but I think my favorite thing so far about it has been the people that we're getting to see play out in TV fashion that we haven't got to see play out in TV fashion. Red Hood, had his animated movie forever ago. Still considered one of the best DC animated films. But they're bringing Red Hood into Young Justice, but they're not bringing him fully realized. He's still at the part where he's returned from the dead, but he doesn't have his memory full back. And that's exciting to me, because we could literally, before this season plays out, could get an opportunity to see Jason Todd take on the full mantle of Red Hood. We could see him become one of my favorite characters in that. Another thing that's really neat is that they are pulling new things from the comic world and putting them into the older situations. Cassandra Cain, if you know that name, she at one point was Batgirl after Nightfall, when Batman had his back broken by Bane. And she, in recent issues, like in the last year or two, in the book Detective Comics, has been a new character called Orphan, which is basically just a silent ninja. But I really loved Cassandra Cain's story arc and who she was, and seeing Orphan come into the comics was something I really, really enjoyed. Now she's on Young Justice as Orphan. So the character Orphan literally is probably like a year or two old. And it's great to see her on TV with that. So I really am enjoying Young Justice. DC surprised me with Titans. And they are continuing to keep me happy that I've subscribed to DC Universe with Young Justice. And Swamp Thing will be coming out soon. Fun fact, I don't know if it'll happen, but I put in my bid / audition to be on Swamp Thing, the TV show, this coming week. They are filming some scenes about an hour from my home for the new Swamp Thing series, and I had to send in a headshot and like a full body shot, and they even wanted a picture of my car. I guess if it's a parking lot scene, I don't know. But so yeah, I've at least made an effort to be on the Swamp Thing TV show. It's not really like a life goal or anything, but my middle daughter Bella loves Swamp Thing, and it would be really cool to say, hey, I'm on Swamp Thing. Merry Christmas. So you'll if that pans out, you'll hear some more about that. But that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. It may not be Swamp Thing, but one neat thing is I have been nominated, accepted, whatever, as 40 under 40 for Fayetteville, North Carolina. They recognize the 40 whatever accomplished up-and-comers, whatever, in the region. I don't know a lot of details yet, but I have been chosen as one of the 40. And for Faith and Fandom and some other things. So there will be, I'll keep you posted on how that goes and what that looks like. That takes place on March 8th. So I'm excited to see with that, and it's honored, and I'm grateful for the people that love me, that nominated me for that, and so that's really neat. That's pretty much where I'm at. Update with everything. I've added a few more Comic-Cons to where we're coming this year, um, and all that is going to look like. I still think our first show is most likely going to be at Oak City, um, which will be Oak City. Our first show will be March 15th through 17th. We'll be at SwanCon in Sumterville, South Carolina. Right after that, on March 23rd, we will be. Vincent will be at Lexington on April 13th. I'll be teaching at a camp then. And let's see, any other shows coming up. Wilmington Geek Expo, April 20th. Concord Minicon, May 4th. And maybe Marble City, and I know Heroes Con, June 16th. And I'm trying to get into Lincolnton Comic Con on the July 20th, and SuperCon is July 25th. So that's a thing. That's all happening. And yeah, there's a lot coming up with that. So don't want to keep you too long with that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to read you just a section of the Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse chapter. I'm going to give you like a good chunk right in the middle of the chapter. And this whole chapter is basically comparing Miles and Into the Spider-Verse with Moses in terms of his anxiety and reluctance to accept the role he's been given. So here is a segment from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse chapter. When Miles was overwhelmed with anxiety and frustration at his circumstances, he did what many of us do. He ran away. Sometimes it's hard to live up to what others expect for you to accomplish. Even when they are encouraging you, it can still be a daunting task to believe it for yourself. Miles is far from the first person to deal with this problem. Back in the time of Exodus, Moses and Miles had a lot of similarities. In Exodus 3:10, "So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" And God said, "I will be with you, and this will be a sign that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain." Moses said to God, "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' What shall I tell them?" Moses was told by God that he was God's chosen instrument to free Israel. And Moses responded with, "Are you sure I'm the right one?" Then, after God reassured him, Moses clapped back with, "But what if they don't know who you are?" Just like with Miles and Moses, our insecurities can make our abilities, calling, and effectiveness seriously seem questionable. The people in Miles' life weren't exactly instilling confidence with their interaction. But Moses literally had the creator of the universe telling him he was enough. Sadly, Moses was still not prepared to accept this truth. Moses goes on in chapter 4, verse 1, to flex his insecurities before his creator. Moses answered, "What if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, 'The Lord did not appear to you'?" He was so bound up in his own shortcomings that he would rather he was so bound up in his own shortcomings on how others would perceive the calling that he couldn't accept what God had told him. God was so gracious to him, though, and continued to give him assistance he needed to be ready. God prepared him with signs and miracles and told him step by step what he needed to do, but it wasn't enough. Picking up in Exodus 4:10, Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servants. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouths? What makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight and makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you, and I will speak and teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." Literally, God himself offering to back Moses each step of the way, but he still wasn't ready. Miles was in a less omnipotent but equally supported situation. Miles had 6 different spider folk, plus Aunt May pouring life, encouragement, and support in him. But he couldn't rise above his own insecurities enough to become the hero he needed to be. Finally, was faced with an ultimatum to rise up or be left behind. His squad left him tied to a chair and alone because he wasn't ready to be the hero he was meant to be. So that's just one page or section out of what the book will be. I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed a lot of these chapters so far, and I'm excited about what book 6 will look like. So that is coming. That is something you will see from me soon with some more details, and I'll keep everybody updated on what we're writing and what we're doing. And I'm going to actually try to, it's hard to bring people to do podcast stuff when I'm in this phase of holidays and travel and kids and all of, what my life looks like right now. But as we get a little more towards con season, I'll definitely be bringing more people on to discuss things. And you can always check out the pull list podcast that I share from Love Thy Nerd that Chris and I do. And just want to say thanks for listening. Several of you reached out to me last time because I sounded a bit down, and I didn't realize how down I sounded till I actually went back and listened. I was in a kind of a discouraged place last time, but God's really been working in me, and this month, these few weeks of fasting and praying and everything else has been really strong and encouraging. So I'm excited about where everything is heading, and look forward to how God is going to use Faith and Fandom and our art and our friends and the interactions we have to just be an encouragement to people and bring them closer. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being awesome. And I will talk to you soon.